All right, we are live. Thanks to the hubby counting me in here. I keep teasing him and telling him I want one of those like little chalk, things that they go action. What are those clapper boards thingy?
All
He's
right,
like,
gotta
you're doing
set
too
the
much.
mood.
Yeah, he's like, you're doing too much. I've built this home studio for you now. Now you're asking for extra shit.
You the queen.
Hello.
You get what you want.
Yes. Welcome, everyone. We are live, correct? Awesome. Welcome, everyone, to, you know what this is, Menage with the MariJayne Maven. I'm your girl, MariJayne Maven. How is everybody doing today on this beautiful, warm day? I mean, wherever you are, I think everybody's having pretty nice weather. So you will see me this episode using my church fan. It's not really a church fan. I got it from New Orleans, but it's hot under these lights, and it's hot upstairs where I am right now. So yes, I do want to welcome our guest, and he's our guest co-host this evening. And to the fans and to those loyal listeners, you guys are like, he looks familiar. Haven't seen him in a minute. Who's that? Yes, it is the one and the only Mr. Brandon Bolton,
Hello,
who has
hello.
just blessed us with his presence once again. So let's welcome him, everybody. Give a
It's
shout out, give a
lovely to
round
be
of
here. No,
applause.
thank you for allowing me to be here. It's always an honor. Like
Of
truly,
course,
truly.
of course. No, it's an honor to have you. You were one of the, if not the first guest. Yes. Oh my gosh, look at this.
Yep.
This is
And we've
crazy.
both
And
grown so much since then. Imagine that. Oh my.
tremendously, right?
You know,
It's crazy.
you know, we're following our
I've had
path.
to, yeah, and I love that you say that because what we thought our past in October, September, when we recorded that first episode, I could say that I was pretty resolute in what it was. Now, especially with the coronation that we're all on, it's kind of like, ooh, let me reverse that back up. Let me, it's not as clear as I thought, but you still got to readjust and go with the flow. So I know you can relate to that because some
Yeah,
great
yeah.
things have been happening to you. I do want to say if you guys have not been following him on social media, you're missing out. You definitely want to go do that. This young man, he I want to say, and don't take this wrong, kind of wet behind the ears coming out of the equity program. It was by the grace of, of the universe and God that he became a speaker at my Colors of Cannabis event, the first one. And I just thought that it was all going to fall apart. And he came to the rescue. And that just lets you know how being in the right place at the right time and recognizing your blessings and opportunities, how important that is, because you did that evening. You were going to be coming to the event anyway, but
Oh
you
man,
stepped up
that
and
night it truly is history for me because
yeah,
that opportunity that you allowed me to be there, like you really said, I saved you, but really it was you opened my eyes to the confidence that I had within myself and the potential that I could reach. It's you allowed me to speak in front of your audience at your wonderful event that you hosted so wonderfully, and I just appreciate that because that was really allowed me to that was my first public speaking moment, and I've been building upon that
yeah.
ever since. Been going to City Hall now, I'm able to speak a lot more
You stay in City
comfortably
Hall.
because of that,
You stay in City Hall.
yeah, that's where you
I'm
gotta be.
surprised you don't have a parking space.
I
I'm
got a few
surprised you
tickets
don't have
though.
like
Oh
a black
man.
card to get into the back.
I know.
No, but it's awesome.
As
It's
much as I
awesome.
pay in
It's
tickets,
awesome
I
what you're
need
doing.
them.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I
Thank
will say one thing that I like to, this is all about edutainment, hashtag edutainment. So we're going to educate you. We're going to provide you some entertainment tonight. But one thing that I definitely want you guys to take away from is the growth that this gentleman has. If you want to go back and watch that first episode that he was on, the second episode, and then, compare it to now, I mean, he even looks older, not in a bad way, but just a lot more, I think, aware
let's just say
of,
tired because it's a lot more work involved than I
yeah,
but I love it.
you're putting in a lot. Yes. You are not only building your brand, but you are building relationships. You're building trust within the community. And you're kind of building from scratch as to what your role in this community is going to be. But you are adapting in a great way. So I have to say, guys, if you are in the position of wanting to get into an equity program or the equity program, or, you may be one of the blessed ones and fortunate ones that maybe have some income to go ahead and just start jumping into your cannabis business, take a few steps and notes from what this gentleman did. He stepped out of his comfort zone. He networked that evening before he even spoke. I mean, I felt like everybody in that place knew who he was prior to me introducing him, because he got in there and he networked, and, he really cemented himself with the people that you need to have created a relationship with and cement your foundation with. And just kind of taking off. I remember him telling me, "You got to introduce me to people." 2-3 months later, I'm like, "I don't
Yeah.
need to introduce you to everybody. You kicking it with all the people that I know already." So, so
And
yeah,
they're all
so,
at your event. Hey, that's where I met them at.
yes,
So
and they're
everybody. So,
beautiful. No, I'm just kidding.
you know, look, hey,
No,
mm-hmm.
it's just it's a blessing. This is one of the things that I got into the industry for, is to be resourceful and to see people grow, whether I had a hand in it or not. So
You
yes, so
definitely.
everybody, that's our introduction to our fabulous guest. So we're going to be sparking and salutationing in a minute. Oh, we got Vita coming in. All right, guys. So co-host Miss Vita is making her
Yeah,
appearance, coming back. So we're going to get her in a second here. I think you're just going to hear her today, guys. So
Yeah,
um,
it's
all
just my
right.
voice.
All right. There you
Hey,
go.
Vita.
Welcome. Welcome.
Hey, what's up? What's up? What's up?
How are you, boo?
I'm good. I
Good, good,
look I
good.
look
Nap,
crazy,
nap.
y'all.
It's okay. It's okay. There's no such thing. You were sleeping good. I mean, I look crazy most of the time during this coronation. I used to
I
definitely be like,
know.
I'm not going to the store in basketball shorts and a
Hey, Vita.
t-shirt. Please,
Right?
please. No
Like it's
makeup.
got your sleep schedule. Like who knows? It might be sleep at night like a regular person.
Man,
It might be stay up all night, sleep all day, and it's
yeah.
there's no like schedule. Just
Well, yeah,
I do
because
what I want.
there's no rush for time. There's no, I got to get up for
Exactly.
work in the morning. I got to get the kids up or anything. I mean, my boys are becoming very, very independent. Let me tell you, they get themselves up unless they want dad to make them oatmeal. They get up, they make their own breakfast. They get themselves started on their online learning. About 12:30, they come and knock on the
Right.
door. About that time, they maybe want a snack or maybe they want a break at that time. And I don't feel bad about it at all. But like I've shared before, my sleep schedule is there is no schedule. There's no sleep.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
It's like I do what
it's
I want. That's
yeah,
it.
yeah. It's probably why I have a touch of vertigo right now, to be honest. So,
Mm.
um,
Yeah, I hope you
sharing
feel better.
with the viewers and everything, if I kind of like keep looking away in a weird way, it's because the vertigo and the lights. It's something. Actually, the lights is kind of helping things kind of calm down. But
Okay.
yes. So what I want to do is I want to introduce everybody, of course, to our quote of the day, and then we're gonna catch up a little bit here with our guest host. So let me pull that up. All right. So this episode, the theme about it is going to be a little bit of community, and the reason why I chose this is because we all have a position and a part to play in this universe, in this lifetime, and closer to home within your communities. And this just really spoke to me because of, like I said, all the kudos I was just giving our guest host here. But this really speaks a lot to what his journey's been, and what I think it will continue to be. And then for anybody that wants to be within the cannabis community, continue to make it viable, to help it to grow, to make Sacramento a standout, city. We are the farm to spark, the city of trees, the original here. So,
Hey.
So
I'm upset they changed that.
yes. So the quote is by Alan Cohen. And it says, half of your power lies in your sameness with others. The other half lies in your uniqueness. Love that. So
Mm-hmm.
that says a lot to me because we do share common ground. And I think it actually speaks about this coronation. We all share very common ground. and that's what can bring us together. But the things that help to move us forward and to make us a success is the uniqueness and the strengths that each individual has. And that definitely plays into, like I said, the cannabis community, that plays into just our society now. So Brandon, tell me a little bit about what you thought or what you think about that quote and how that reads to you right now, especially with your journey, and share a little bit about, kind of what your new title is, what what you've been up to.
Yeah, no, that quote really hits home because in a lot of ways, I'm finding myself, I'm evolving with this industry and finding better ways to be effective and help, other social equity applicants, not just myself, but, everyone in Sacramento. And so, on that path, I'm realizing that my uniqueness is being able to make these relationships and form these networks, around social equity and be able to prop up social equity members, when into the industry. And so, but it's always with, our ecosystem in mind, ecosystem being social equity. And so that's very powerful because it's like I said, you can't, for me, I wouldn't be able to be happy if I didn't see every single person succeed. And it's going to those networks, you see, you host the events, going to all the events, it's tough to not see as many people that look like us there, that truly that truly deserve to be there. Like we're essential workers now. There's still some of us are incarcerated for crimes that people are making millions of dollars for.
Millions, hand over fist.
Like we need to remove a lot more of these barriers so that way a lot more of our brothers and sisters can get access into the industry. And, even so for myself, I've had many of chances to get into the industry, and I've actually taken a step back and, more so on advocacy and working on policy, because I'm understanding that even if I get access, it's still going to be so much harder for the next 100 people to get access. So what we truly need to do is work with these policymakers, the regulators, and say, how can we remove these barriers so that way all of us can come in at the same time and form this ecosystem?
Yes.
And
what
a little
would
bit
you
about,
say is the biggest? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, just and a little bit about my title. I'm just the executive director of the United Core Alliance. We're a cannabis social equity organization. We're founded by equity members for social equity members, and we really want to prop them up with full suite, whatever development they need to get access into the legal cannabis industry, whether that's compliance, business development, or just understanding the political processes that it really takes to, to climb that mountain.
Excellent. How have you seen? I know I'm on the email list. I get the emails. I'm seeing, the people that you have involved. How often you're sending out information. How you're bridging the gap between the state and the county and the equity, graduates and the candidates. How have you seen your impact? How have you seen your organization make an impact thus far? And when did it start exactly? Would you give us a little bit of background on that?
For sure. It really, so it started back in December, really after a city council meeting where I realized that, the both the systems, we have two administering programs here, as the Urban League and, the Asian Chamber, and the community, the stakeholders. And so really to form a more tight-knit connection with all of the above, we formed the United Core Alliance to go ahead and start, hosting bi-monthly meetings that, so we all host forum there and talk about, issues that are near and dear to our heart within these cannabis, within this cannabis industry. And so that has been, oh man, it's such a whirlwind. It's been, we're sophisticating ourselves around this industry. We're like I said, we're learning together business processes. We're learning together how to do standard operating procedures together. We're learning how to, deal and really how to lobby, quote unquote. We're not lobbyists, but, really we're doing the work of what they do. And so we have to understand the processes of how to, get the attention of the people who need to hear what we have to say. And so in this process of learning that, we're doing it together, but then we're also realizing no one has knows this stuff, and we're understanding it and learning it and grasping it together. You know, we're all working on different things. We may all be different operators. Some of us might be, you know, in the same type of operation, but we don't look at it as competition, because we need to help one another succeed. And we need to help one another better understand things one might better understand here, but might not understand, you know, there. And so coming together in, you know, forming forming this organization with the community, and, you know, really coming from together, like really trying to get everyone's input. Like I really try to get as many stakeholders input as, you know, I send as much stuff out as possible, so that way people can be, you know, at real time with it. So that way they can give that input, and or, you know, the input that we give to, you know, regulators and other local community leaders, you know, it is what the community would like.
Let me ask you this, Brandon. How long do you think it's going to be before there's like just more fixed, solid rules that aren't changing and fluxing and moving all the time?
That's funny. That's hilarious.
Do you think there's like a time frame when that'll happen? Like, oh, you know, within the next 3 years, it's looking like it should be mapped out really good, and, you know, we'll have the structure we're going to stick with? Or do you think it's always going to be this dynamic, shifting rules all the time?
Realistically, because, you know, I mean, we've had the legacy market for a long time, and really the medicinal market, like Prop 215 era, for a while. But recreational, you know, adult use, we've just started last year. So there's going to be so many changes. And I really think in the upcoming years, we could look at about, you know, 7 years down the road, these policies are still shifting and changing. I truly do believe that, as different entities start to take a hold of who really regulates this, in, you know, this environment. So as
because right now
those,
it's in such a check and balances type of state. You know, it's or this is why, like, too much like right. If it's too much like right, we may not do it until things mess up, and then we go back to the original, you know, idea, which was the right way. It's being built, you know, just like anything else. And I think most people thought, well, it's recreational, it's a business sector, it's going to take off and everything's perfect. No, that's, you know, that's definitely not it.
they have to
But
get it
that's
right
why
with
you
the
need,
regulations first.
that's why you need individuals like Brandon. That's why you need organizations, you know, like the UCA, because we do need outside entities to provide those checks and balances, to call people to the carpet. I mean, that's a great question, though, because I think most people look at, you know, Colorado, for example, and they go, well, they got it together all quickly. No, it just wasn't.
No, they're still shifting out there as well.
Yeah.
If you really, you know, taxes are shifting. A lot of stuff it's shifting everywhere, as it has to, because, you know, it's there's more intake for, there's more demand for, especially with being essential use now. So they have to really look at, you know, regulations, and also how to get really Colorado. One of the things that, in my opinion, they kind of messed up on is they didn't bake social equity into the foundation of what that program was. And so you can't really go back into something and say, okay, this is the space for individuals that truly, you know, deserve this in the industry, once that industry is already fully matured. And so all those opportunities
that's
kind of taken up, you know, and so you can't expect people to just say, okay, you know, give us equity in your businesses because, you know, it's owed to us when they built that business. So really, you know, you have to, it all starts with the regulators, you know, you have to, oh man, Colorado, but they have a nice industry though. I truly, they are looking at social equity. And like I said, that's evolving.
Well, you can, I think you can say, give me social equity in the business you've already built. It's like saying, give me a, oh my goodness.
Reparation?
No, not reparations, affirmative action. You know what I
But
mean?
yes,
Affirmative action.
yeah,
It's like saying, you know, or just equal opportunity, making sure that, you know, equal opportunity employment and things like that are in that sector as well, that they are not escaping a lot of things that we've already put into industry for equality already, you know.
You know, my research of Colorado and their cannabis community is that a lot of the owners, private owners, business owners, they want that equity. So if it's happening, they're doing it on their own. They're saying, you know, for example, I know there was a couple who came from owning a successful pizza chain. And I can't remember which one it was. It's one of the smaller ones, but that's how they started. And then they were like, you know what? Well, let's kind of venture into another sector where there's a lot of inequity and that there's people in jail for doing something that people are getting rich off of. So they, they were fortunate enough to have money and backing from their other business to be able to get into the cannabis industry. And their full purpose is they don't hire anyone that has not had a past crime, whether it's expunged or whatever or not. That's related to the industry. You have to show an interest in the industry, whether you want to be a cultivator, whether you want to be, somebody that makes the next best brownie or whatever it is. Like, you have to actually show a true interest.
Yes.
They hire mothers, single mothers, so those are the people that are going to make that change, that will be able to get Colorado to go, oh, wait, you know what? All right, now we're going to have to go back and retroactively put something in because these vendors that are paying money and paying taxes want it. So
listen,
that's how I see it happening.
I'm like, listen, business owners, cannabis business owners all around the world, you want to have equity because, it's us, the people of color, who have really kept cannabis going in the world. It's like the hippie sector had it going, as like medicine and, in that kind of earthy community. But as far as people blazing, just blaze, I mean, that was us all day. So don't forget about us when it comes to, making that much money.
Yes. And we are on, we're live right now on Instagram, and we just had a comment asking, we're speaking about Wanda James. That is definitely a woman that I would love to get an interview with, to speak with for 30 seconds. I have, she has commented and responded to Instagram post of mine, and that's like, yay, everything in life. But if you don't know who Wanda James is, actually, I think what I would like to do is maybe highlight her and talk about her in a future episode in more detail. So shout out to my fam who asked that question.
Pipe and
she is.
I met her at the HempCon preview. This HempCon, I fanned out. I just like fanboyed out. I was just like, hey, you my fan, you my mom fan, so.
That's dope.
Tiffany, MJ, be quiet. You ain't never talked to nobody for no 30 seconds, girl. Stop it.
Ever in life. Facts. But so we definitely want to talk about a little more and talk about what you've been doing and what you've learned. But we got to get into a little of the BS. We got to get into a little bit of why MariJayne keeps us sane. So in this process, guys, I've sparked up. So spark and salutations to everybody. Please get your indica, your sativa, your hybrid, get your concentrate, your crumble, whatever. Your water, your gravity bong. If you hitting a gravity bong, I don't know if you can remember too much of this podcast, but
you have a nice
right. So so what I first thing that I kind of want to talk about that is just a little bit of the canna and pop culture. This is something that I want to talk about, guys. All right, I'm going to step up on this little soapbox of mine. So we all know what state we're living in this world right now. Okay. Why is it so hard for grown people to follow directions and stay your happy asses at home?
Let us out our house. Let us
home. Okay.
Let us out our house.
Right.
You protesting? Do a little research, guys.
Man, that's just white privilege. That is all that is.
But no, this is what I'm saying. If you want to, if you don't care about yourself and your immediate family, just maybe throw a bone out there and just think about everybody else that you're affecting. Let's go back and look at the Spanish, the Spanish flu.
Now, why would you care about everybody else if you don't care about your own self and your immediate family?
Girl, as I was saying, and it sounded a little silly, but because I am that type of person,
you care about yourself.
Yes. So, but this is my thing. You go back to the Spanish flu. During the Spanish flu, there were people who also were like, oh, they were protesting something. They decided to get all together and get all close and do all this. And not even, I think 14 days later, more than half of that group had the Spanish flu and more than half of them died. So why would you guys think, let's go all meet together at the state capitol? No gloves, no masks, no social distancing. And yet you're hollering around, spitting, talking about how you wanted your liberty and to be back out. And let's just say I was just walking by and your spittle just landed right on me. And now I got the corona because you are dead and you don't know how to stay at
Well,
home.
it's
Stay at
crazy
home.
because it's gotten beyond even worrying about if they have corona. It's become just something to exercise your white privilege, your discontent, which comes from, yourself, a personal internal thing, but they don't want to face that. So then they turn it on the world and make it about everything else.
Well,
Listen,
it just
dead men
infuriates me.
don't worry about liberty. So if you die from the corona, suddenly you're not American anymore. You're dead, So
well, hey, a dead American. And there you go. I mean, she took it there. I was probably gonna be just a little like, a little more nope, I wasn't. I was gonna say a little kinder. No, because it infuriates me. I went to, ordered my family food. I did what you're supposed to do, ordered curbside pickup. Everybody else that decided to go to Habit in Elk Grove the other day was like, nah, dog, I don't know what that is. And everybody that decided, I sat and I recorded it, and I just deleted the video today because I was like, I'm not gonna be that petty and put all that negativity out because I was about to put it out.
No
15
doubt.
people I counted walking in there, no gloves,
And
no masks, no 6 feet distance.
I was there the other day, and it's small in there when you're ordering.
Yes,
so
it is.
Go outside.
Yes, it is.
After you order, and you go wait in your car if that's the case.
Yes.
Or you pay and you go wait in your car.
Order online.
Yeah, I know.
This is 2020. Order online. Like I don't understand why it had to become something political. If you want to make it political, make it about your president who decided to lie about it for 2 damn months. Let's make it political there. Let's do that. If you want to make it political, give a huge round of applause to our fantastic governor who has done nothing less than of a stellar job and has completely shown what leadership is. Me and Newbie, we're homies. Okay, I gave him a nickname, Newbie. We're here. We're homies. I'm glad he's getting some sleep because in the first couple of weeks, that man was not getting any sleep. His eyes were just
that's why you
like he was
take
burning.
office, right? That's what you get.
Yeah,
you
but he's doing a great job
to do that.
But he's resolute in what he says. I love that he said, hey, y'all don't know how to social distance at the beach? Guess what? Beach is shut down.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you guys want to act like petulant children or teenagers that snuck out after I told you not to, then we're going to treat you like it. And that's what he did.
Listen, these people is out here acting, see, in our households, you don't get to just do what you want. And we learn early some self-control. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so these folks is out here acting like they from households where no one ever told you what to do. And you just get to do whatever you like, And so...
I mean, they act like they're the only
crazy.
ones, like they were specifically picked to just stay at home. And my thing is like, is it really that bad at your house? Is it really that bad with your like full backyard where you have a pool and probably like a basketball court?
Exactly.
And you're not waiting on unemployment checks,
Well, the craziest part
is on your vacation, but
the craziest part is the people who are protesting are the ones who are most likely to die from COVID. So it's just really like I mean, they were saying it. They're going to sacrifice themselves to the volcano god for the economy. So it's like the economy matters more to you than your own personal existence and what you want to write in the book of life.
Now, what also infuriates me is, Brandon has said it a couple of times, cannabis businesses are essential. Why are they essential? Because they're people's medicine, people.
Right.
Okay. So let's please stop whining about why your fish and game store can't be open. It's not essential. You know what I'm saying? Like, stop being, stop being so upset.
You don't fly fish for your dinner. Stop it.
It's not medicine. I don't want to rub anybody the wrong way, but churches, come on, guys.
Oh, please.
You were the main place that you had a huge outbreak. Nobody's sitting 6 feet apart on the pews. You know what I'm saying? Nobody is singing in the choir with a mask on. Like, let's just.
There's a lot of heavy breathing and stuff,
girl, sweat's going places if somebody's shouting and getting the Holy Ghost. Like, and I'm not trying to be funny. I'm being serious. Like, you can still praise. Look, from what I know, doesn't it say that you can praise and do what you need to do and anywhere? It doesn't need to be
the other day.
Is that not something?
The other day, somebody was criticizing some friends of mine. parents for not, having people over or going out. And they said, well, they're practicing social distancing. Why? And they go, oh, I don't need that. I got God. Oh, okay. What? It was just so ignorant. I felt like saying, don't put that on God. God is like,
God ain't got nothing to do with this. God was like, look, I told y'all to calm down, and
I
now
told
y'all
y'all
got
to put a mask on and stay home.
I told you to stay at home and enjoy your family, and and learn a little bit about changing and be adaptable. I'm trying to give you some virtue and some patience, but y'all just don't want it. So, I just, yeah. So that's my first thing. But second thing,
preach, MJ, preach.
I'm trying. All right, I got my fan too, just like in my church. I'm gonna do it too. No, so. Brandon, is there anything about this whole situation that kind of bothers you as well? Because I know that you doing things about, the city hall meetings and the advocacy that you could be doing in the cannabis industry right now, that's at a halt. Are you complaining? Are you going and protesting and talking about your civil liberties? Or are you rolling with the punches?
No, I'm doing my complaining from emails nowadays. So
hey, there you go.
So that's how you just got to learn to adapt to the situation. So it's just about finding more ways to do that. And the one issue I will have, if I can say there's one with the government, is just I don't want them to push anything along while we can't really fully be there for public comment. Or if they do open up some type of virtual services, allow for us to be there to give that public comment.
Yes.
Even like the city, like the city of LA,
a future politician in the making, man. Look at him. Look at him. I've been saying this for months now. Like, he is maybe not a full-fledged politician, but you are going to have an impact on advocacy. You're going to be a decision maker.
You're a social.
Cannabis is all politics.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. True.
Is.
Facts.
You're a socio-political influencer. I mean, keep it up. It's important.
Join that. Add that to your business cards. I like that. But yes, no, I definitely agree with what you're saying. I feel like I want everybody to take away a lesson, something that they've learned from themselves, or something that they improved upon, or have you taken this time to do something that you consider as an improvement, or something that you've been able to reflect on and become more accountable in? I've been kind of asking this question to every guest host.
No, definitely. I've been using this time to really just evolve myself and just find better ways to understand myself, find better ways to meditate, find better ways to use my time efficiently in these times, and really keep my head on straight too. One of the things I'm lucky is my family really came together, well, we still distanced, but, we really came together and we supported each other in this time as well. So coming, really getting back to the roots of things and just, it was kind of like the reset button, so just building I see my holes, my flaws now. I'm dealing with those, I have to deal with those. And so it's just
your holes,
progression.
Your holes. Did you say your holes?
My holes.
Oh, holes. I was like, yeah, you got to deal with your hoes. You don't want to go wayward on you while you on the corona. Like, look, no, I'm just kidding.
Not just over here background getting weak.
I was like, you about to get him in trouble. His grandma gonna be like,
I'm just messing with you. I gotta be stupid. But I love that. That's exactly what me and MJ have been saying since Corona day one.
Yes.
Here's your opportunity.
It's 60 days right now, right, guys? Like,
well, guess what? It takes 90 days for a full cycle change.
Yes, and that's another thing, and we'll kind of talk about that when we come back, because right now we're going to talk a little bit about month leaf. And this is, that's an essential service. That's an essential business. You need it. You don't want to get out. You don't want to go to, to the storefront. You don't want to go to this private sesh. That homeboy that you met outside the AMPM that was like, hey, I got bags. He's not responding. So you need that delivery. So month leaf is going to be your answer. So check this out. We're going to talk a little bit about month leaf, and we're going to come on back with a little bit more about why MariJayne helps to keep me sane. All right. So we are just going to, like I said, it's going to be our commercial there. But yes. So month leaf, we've talked about it before. I should grab my box, but I don't want to get off camera right now. So what I do want to talk about, speaking of services and businesses, one other thing that I've noticed during this, coronation, I don't like to call it the quarantine or the
Right.
COVID-19, whatever. How corporations are donating, how they are actually doing what they should be doing because they're, the upper 1%. And that's kind of how our, how democracy and, our economy is kind of built. But if I see one more commercial about a business saying, we donated $100 million, great, do it. And you don't have to tell anybody. Like,
Exactly.
And that's nothing to them because it becomes write-offs later and just all
That's what I
kinds of
was gonna
stuff.
say.
write
For real.
Government
off.
funding,
Woo, yes,
government
e-
bailouts. So it's like,
exactly.
shut the
Mhm.
fuck up. We
Yes,
don't care
yes.
what you gave. Stop polluting. How about that?
Yes, yes, exactly. Let's talk about the other things that you're doing. I was telling the hubby, we were watching TV the other day, and he paused on a commercial, and he's like, "Does this bother you?" And I'm like, "I was thinking the same thing." And I think it was Dove or Target or
all the diaper commercials, they show single dads as
oh yeah,
white dudes or
Oh,
black women, but they never show a complete family being a black family.
yeah,
It's always just it's a black family, it's just a single mom with a separated, but white family got the dad, the mom, and everybody.
yeah, yeah. So it's like during this time, that's another thing that we notice is that the marketing has kind of changed. Everybody has a commercial about, oh, we're in this together. I mean,
no,
Golden
we're
One, great. Thank you, Golden One. I'm so happy that are not charging people on their loans. Like that's you guys, that's the least you can do. Banks are crazy, crazy, wealthy. So that's the least you can do
well,
is not charge me $30 because I went
yeah.
overdrawn to put gas in my car or whatever. But another thing is the marketing's changed. Before the pandemic, the coronation, it was a lot of mixed couples. What is supposed to be representing the nuclear family in 2020. What we've noticed since is that it is a lot of showing single moms or white fathers, but you're rarely seeing families as a whole, or you're really seeing a black father with his children in commercials. And we've just noticed this in the last 2-3 months, which is funny because they're not really supposed to be taping these commercials. So when were these taped? But that's something else. You know?
HIV.
Yes, but that's another. We talk about that another time. But yeah, so I feel the corporations are they're taking advantage, and it's in negative ways. And I think the reason being is because they are missing out on money. A lot of them aren't open to public and to their services. So they still have to make money some way, somehow. So if we're talking about that, we're donating, when we open up, that's going to make you want to come back and be that loyal customer. Yeah. So that's just, that's just something else that I had to get off my chest. I literally almost got up at 2 o'clock in the morning the other day, put on makeup, put on an outfit, and was like, hubby, get the camera ready because I just wanted to talk about it so bad. But I decided, save it till now. So, yes. So, whew, that's cleansing. That was cleansing. All right. So,
Yeah,
on to
no,
the next.
I agree with you though on that. Like corporations, stop trying to latch on to every little situation to get in people's head with your advertising. Just go sit down and stay home too.
I mean, you didn't see the cannabis companies, in the first couple of weeks after, the stay home, stay at shelter started. How cannabis industry, like everybody was just selling weed, selling weed, selling weed. I mean, it was crazy.
Right.
You didn't see companies come out and go, well, we got everybody nice and high, like we're helping the stress. Like you didn't see them
Right.
coming down. I mean,
Trying to
high
get
times.
clout
Yeah, I mean,
chasing,
high times is getting
COVID
ready to
clout.
go public.
That's
High
one thing I
times.
can't say I'm pretty proud about our industry. It is maturing, in ways because we didn't see
Mhm.
that with cannabis operators as well. We didn't see, hey, I'm essential. Hey, I'm essential. Hey, I'm essential.
Yes,
We didn't see a whole bunch
Right.
of ads for that. We didn't see,
yes.
we got the regular billboards up. They ain't switched those. So I appreciate that they're not going, over, with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do
Yeah.
too, because like as a nurse, one thing that bothers me a little bit is
Oh, and thank you.
suddenly
Happy Nurses
everyone's
Day.
checking for nurses.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, oh well, we have been here doing what we've been doing. And I understand things come into people's consciousness, right? And they want to say, oh, I've been, kind of not paying attention to this aspect of life. Let me say thank you. I appreciate that part. But at the end of the day, like, everybody should just be doing what they were already hired and trained to be doing. You know what I mean? And so special thank yous. Do not, like, I'm not going to lie to you nurses out there on Instagram, clout chasing over COVID. I don't like that. Like, seriously.
Yeah,
Just,
no,
me,
the only people right now that should be bragging, and they can't because they're dead tired and they're, helping people not to pass away, are the, it's the healthcare field, and the nurses, let's be honest. So as I was saying when you were talking, so my bad, I know you didn't hear me, but happy Nurses Day to you, and thank you so much. If you guys all don't know, our very own Vita, she is a nurse. So we want to shout her out today. We appreciate you. I also want to give a shout out to my very, very best friend who I've known since I was 9.5 years old.
20.
She will be done with nursing school on, what's today? Tomorrow. Oh my God.
Hey,
Oh,
20.
shout
She will
out.
be officially done tomorrow. I'm damn proud of her. She is a nerd and the best kind. Great student, and she's going to make a excellent nurse. So shout out to Nurse Turner as well. Love
Nurse
you.
Turner. Hey, and shout out though to UC Davis for hooking her up with those clinical hours during COVID, because a lot of people have lost their ability to finish their schooling right now with COVID because of clinical time, and which is like a rotation that we do. And so just shout out to UC Davis for providing that environment for her to finish those last few hours. Because wouldn't that have sucked for her to be held up for another 6 some odd
like
months,
a lot
over
of them
20,
are,
over 20 hours of clinical, it's just
I know it happened to not ARC, I think Sierra, one of the Los Rios school, one of the colleges. They informed everybody that, like, hey, you're not gonna be able to finish until maybe this time next year.
Right. Sad. So that's so
it is.
amazing they did that for her, and that's
I believe
extra
in
special for her.
I believe that Newbie is gonna help to eradicate that issue in some way, somehow. I believe it. Newbie, I believe it. Look, he watches. I know he's one of my fans. Oh, speaking of watchers, I'm sorry, I did fail to mention. Shout out to our newest viewers, subscribers in North Carolina. I like
North Carolina.
Because I talk about the baby all the time.
Come
I
on
think
and raise up.
I like to say it's the baby. I'm convincing myself that it's the baby.
Take your shirt off.
Yes. So, yes, shout out, France. You guys just keep showing up and showing out. But please, somebody contact me. Instagram, email. Let's get you some merch. I really would love to interview you guys and find out, like, what is it about the podcast? I'm so grateful. But you guys are at about 62% of our listenerships right now, right? 68. Let me not undercut what you guys are doing. I mean, holy shit. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. And to all of our other international listeners as well, we appreciate you, as well as our, those that are here. So kind of speaking upon, I dropped the baby's name. I want to talk a little bit about, me and entertainment. Have you guys, I know that Vita has, because we talked about it yesterday, but Brandon, have you yet seen Black AF on Netflix? Yes.
No,
on Netflix.
I haven't. I haven't been able to really watch too much of anything.
It's all you need is just a good 8 hours. Either that be over a couple days or one day, because you're not going to want to turn it off.
Oh, okay. Good. Oh, okay. Let me write that down there. Hold on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Shout out to Kenya Barris. It is like everything else he's done was great, but him kind of giving his own story and just it's amazing. I'm dying laughing. Like, I'll think of little scenes of that and just be weak.
Dying. Like
there's internal happiness that comes from it.
It's very realistic. It's very telling, and you can tell that it's what he wanted Blackish to be, but he couldn't do it because it was on major television. And I'm so happy though that happened, because now we got this.
Right.
Yeah.
And shout out to
And
Rashida Jones because she's killing
oh
her role.
gosh, I mean, killing it. But shout out to
Killing
all
it.
the Black creators. That was one episode where it was just
Yes.
all the Black creators. It was Issa
Okay.
and
Yeah.
Will Packard and
Mm-hmm.
Ava.
Because I've been
And
back on Insecure, you know what I'm saying?
oh, Insecure is just, I mean, can it be any better? Issa just, I love her. It's just flawless.
This
That's
new
just so flawless.
generation of Black creators for like Hollywood, there's a new thing out right now, a new show called Hollywood, and it's
Yes,
really
it's on my
cool too.
list.
But
Hmm.
it talks about racism and sexism and you know homophobia in Hollywood, and they kind of touch on the whole thing is kind of about that. But anyway, I love what the industry is allowing Black people to do their art in Hollywood right now. Like, you know, I just love our Black creators right now. We've got some
I
of the
do. I
best
mean,
Black content creators ever.
we've been doing it for as long as mankind has been around. I mean, let's be honest, and influencers, but the fact that they are decision makers and they are now,
Right.
I would say, A-list,
Bosses. They're
producers.
bosses.
And yeah. So that is what's awesome. I mean, Tyler Perry, I mean, come on. Tyler Perry dressed up as as somebody's grandmama or somebody's great grandma and, started on the Chitlin circuit. And now I think there's probably more people that are not Black that flock to the movies on those opening days of those movies, and he said on the show, he was telling Kenya on the show that he does not care about what the critics say because it's not for them, it's for us. And everything that he does is a conversation that we have. But the fact that he is able to get other people and other races to, co-sign with that or to connect with that, that says so much as well. So it's really dope. And I know Brandon and I were talking before we went live, and I think this plays to what we were talking about as far as the entrepreneurship and the switch, I think, in our community and making our own way, creating the life that we see for ourselves and understanding that we ultimately have the control. I was sharing about my 8-year-old who has, dubbed himself the creativepreneur. And his biggest thing is, he wants to,
Got
that's the
bundles
creator.
now too. Y'all better go holler.
Oh, seriously, shirts coming out. You guys know, look, you guys will probably be sick to death of me talking about it, but I'm going to let him come on and, on the PG, what is it, 7 and under, whatever version, whatever, kid friendly, of course, allow him to come on and, start getting I told him he has to have not an elevator pitch, but he has to have a Shark Tank pitch, because you never know who you're sitting in front of. So you may be sitting in front of somebody that's a venture capitalist or that's an angel investor, and you want to be able to get to them right away. So
you always need that elevator pitch. You need a 2-minute pitch. You need about a 15-minute pitch, and then you got your long, drawn out, pitch. So
so it is super important to start it at that age. But we were talking about just how we're seeing this shift. And I know, Vita, you and I have talked about it, like this shift in, it's okay for Black people to say, I meditate.
Shift in consciousness.
I do yoga. Yes. Oh, I take my vitamins every day. Oh, I'm doing a detox. Like, it's becoming okay. And it doesn't put you in a box of being bougie or thinking like you're so white or something like that. You know what I'm saying? It's, why can't I just be a healthy person?
It should be a part of our daily consciousness.
Everybody's daily consciousness.
You shouldn't be removed from those aspects of your life because you're so busy doing what the fuck ever. Seriously.
Yeah. It's not like
you don't take the time to focus on caring for your body, your spaceship, your vehicle, then in all aspects.
Right. No, 1000%. I mean, I think it's not like, you can just take away somebody's Black card, because it's like they've never seen Boys in the Hood. It's not the same thing. If somebody's saying that they're taking care of self and they are wanting to uplift their community. I know the message and I want to give to my boys is, you have a dream, and that dream is there because that's your purpose. So you do whatever that you can do, regardless of what anybody says, to do that. And then I also teach them, don't ever work for anybody. Like, they want to have jobs when they're in high school and whatnot. Great. That's fine. I had a great job when I was in high school. But I want them to have the mentality of being an entrepreneur, and that's the only way. And that's why cannabis became such a huge part and focus for me, because it's a great opportunity for us to do that.
Yes, yes. Yeah, when
Yes.
you blaze, you definitely, want to do what you want to do.
Yes. Yeah.
What you
Right.
came here to do. You're like suddenly you like connect with some previous contract that you made with yourself where you're like, you know what? I didn't come here to be working at XYZ
Right.
for a paycheck.
Right.
I
Right.
know
Right.
that, my heart is here. I need to follow that,
Yeah. I always like to quote Cat Williams when he's like, weed has fuckatol in it. You just be like, I got candles that even burn anyway, when your light's about to get shut off and shit, or, it really does. If you take the time to listen to that inner voice that's speaking to you loudly when you're lifted or whatever it is, don't just think it's like me being lifted and I'm just tripping. No, like
Right.
listen to what that is. And Brandon, I know you can attest to that, and we're going to talk about that in a little detail. But the hubby is queuing up a video that I definitely want to highlight, and I want to give a shout out to this father, and I want to give him his crown. This is our crowning moment that I like to do occasionally. Yes. All right. So this is a black father and his 8-year-old black son. And his journey and mission is to teach him financial literacy. So this is a
Hey.
video. Yeah, it's awesome. Like this kid and Jax would be best friends. Best friends, except for Jax doesn't have any
Hey.
teeth.
Shout out to Jax.
Yes. So he's just getting a cue back up here, but I saw it yesterday. Shout out to Scott Evans on Access Hollywood, because he shared the story, and I mean I was just boo-hooing, like for so many reasons. But yeah, it's pretty deep. Got it?
Oh wow, we about to be crying?
Got you with the money, and you can't be no sucker at you with your money.
But I ain't no sucker. Bet you I don't.
Okay. What's assets?
Assets are things that bring money into your bank account.
What's liabilities?
Liabilities are things that take money out your bank account.
Entrepreneurship is the act of becoming an entrepreneur. What's entrepreneurship?
Entrepreneurship is a process of setting up a business or business.
Go ahead, little king.
Financial risk.
What's an entrepreneur?
Entrepreneur is a person that organizes and operates businesses.
Also taking on a greater than normal.
Financial risk.
What's financial mean?
Money.
And what's risk mean?
Chance.
Come on. What does it mean to own stock?
Hey,
When you own a share of a company.
Come on. What's real estate investing?
Real estate investing is when you invest in a movable property.
What's the two types of real estates?
Commercial real estate and residential real estate.
What's commercial real estate?
Commercial real estate is property for businesses and workspace, like an office, store, or land.
And what's residential real estate?
Property
so
to
dope.
live on, like a house, apartment, or condominium.
Come on. It comes with extra fees when you have real estate. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
Daddy tells you how many times he pays his state property tax a year.
Once a year.
What's the type of maintenance fee?
Cutting grass.
Come on. What's HOA?
Homeowner association.
And what comes along with that?
HOA fee.
Come on. And when it comes to the brokerage percent, what's the percent is that?
7.
Come on.
Mm.
What's equity?
More than I know.
Equity is the difference between what your business is worth minus what you owe on it.
Also assets minus
liabilities and debt.
Good job. What's credit report?
Credit report is like a report card letting you know how well you did by paying your money back you borrowed.
And how does credit affect your life?
The better you keep your credit, the more opportunities you'll have to get funding.
And what large purchases like?
A car or a house.
Come on. And always repay what you
owe.
Because if you owe somebody, that means you're in
debt.
And you never want to be in
debt.
Because that means you
owe somebody.
And we don't never owe
somebody.
Because that ain't what suckers do, period.
Hey.
Come on.
That is
that's
so
the future right there.
awesome.
That's the future.
Right? Like that.
Yeah, I like that.
Like I was like, oh, he was, I was like answering the questions as he was saying. I'm like, do I know? Yeah, okay, I guess I know that. That is that little boy and his energy. And he says he wants to be so many things when he grows up. He wants to be an actor and a model because he looks good. Oh, hold on. Hold on, guys. Just a little something else. Oh, okay. She wanted her shine too. All right. She wanted her shine too. Just YouTube just kept going. All right. So I thought that was awesome. I wanted to share that. Shout out to that father and to that young king. I mean, him and Jackson could be bestest of friends, okay? The best of friends. But
Yeah, that
yes,
was
so
cute, but that kind of I mean, I wasn't gonna cry or nothing, but it did touch me in kind of a sad place
I
because
did.
yeah, because my father is a very literate, financial literate man, and he never shared any of that with me. And so it's always been the one thing that I thought, dang, how
Yeah.
come this person never even mentioned the word credit growing up?
I
You know
always
what I
got
mean?
don't do it. That's what I got. Don't get a credit card. Don't do it. Don't do it. And I was like, all right, so as soon as I could, what do you think I did?
Yeah, I was
Got
never
it, your credit card.
as well on my end. Like,
Right. Like same.
normal.
Like you get to a certain age and
Yeah.
someone's like, I remember MCI was like, y'all want some pagers? You're like,
Right? He
pagers
said
for all the
pagers.
homies.
He
Not
said
my credit,
pagers. So for those of you that don't know what a pager is, back in the day, that's how people got a hold of you when you weren't home. Okay. It was a
Beat me
little box.
911.
Yes. If it's major, hit me on my pager.
But you know what I
Um,
mean? Like you're wrecking your credit before you even know what it is
yeah,
because
no,
no
no,
one ever
definitely.
mentioned to you the concept of it. And then one day some predatory lender offers you some dumb shit like pagers for you and all the homies on
Uh-huh.
your credit. And you're like,
Yep.
why not?
Or, they're hanging out in the quad, the first
Oh,
few
at
weeks of
college.
school, and
Yes.
they're just basically signing you up and giving you, speakers for your, for the shower and, all this other shit. And next thing you know, you have 17 cards. They're all at 29% APR because they're student credit cards.
Right.
And you're not only in debt for your education, but then guess what, mom and dad? I also have about 15,000 in credit card debt.
Personal debt. Yeah.
There's responsibility in that. But jumping back to what we were kind of talking about, Brandon, I definitely want to take the opportunity to have you share what your life has been like over the past few months since you first visited us, and tell us a little bit about the as much as you can, because everything's kind of on a halt, but the equity scene in Sacramento, or the business side of it. Can you share anything positive? Just let us know. Just sprinkle us with your knowledge and your wealth, sir.
Oh no, definitely. It's been so much happening since last time I was on the show, especially with just the licensing. A lot more of the social equity programs a lot more matured now. So we are getting a bit more of the services out right now. There's actually a reimbursement program that they're having. In that program pretty much says that you can get reimbursed up to $25,000 based on, like hard costs, things such as, like building costs, like hard materials, things like that.
Nice.
And consulting fees as well. So they just added that as well pretty
Good.
recently. But they actually just got a state grant as well for 3.8 million, and that is
Uh-huh.
going to be going into a revolving loan program. And so I'm really excited to see, kind of how they set that up, because I truly think that that's going to be, what people can use as
Yes.
get access to the industry. Like that's going to be one of the big kickers. We all know it's capital, and so
Yes.
to have
Yeah.
direct access to capital, means we can now form relationships and partnerships with each other and not expect, outside industry to prop us up. Now we can
Collaboration.
say, exactly. Now we
Collaboration.
can say, look,
Yes.
go in my five, with my five internal
Yes.
group, instead of saying, let's just find one high net worth individual that we don't really trust and
Yes.
that just wants to,
Yes.
get profit
Yeah.
and everything else.
That's amazing.
Yes.
And
So,
so,
if we could back up just a little bit for somebody who has no idea what we're talking about, we keep saying equity, social, this, they have no idea what that is. Would you kind of give us the bare bones, kind of take it back to that night of Colors of Cannabis and explain what the equity program is, maybe how you would qualify, and then, kind of leading back into what you do now and your personal experience. Kind of share a little bit about that, like I said, for somebody who has no knowledge of what we're speaking of.
Yeah, so the equity program really it came from the war on drugs. It's really it's something. Social equity is pretty new in itself, so a lot of people don't really understand what that term is, and really it's evolving itself. With a lot of different services that are coming in, but it was we got it because the war on drugs. There's a lot of incarcerated individuals right now that are still incarcerated, because of really predatory, arresting. Get out of my cat. Sorry. Really predatory, arresting methods from policing, and so to try to remedy that. They created the social equity program, and what that does is create more opportunities for individuals that were harmed by the war on drugs to get access, to owning a business, or even to, maintaining a career within the industry, and maintaining that they have that opportunity to get up to an executive level, type position. And so it's really carving out space for individuals like myself and creating opportunities for us to, really work with individuals that are on the outside of social equity, because we are going to be here. We are here to stay, and they're starting to realize that. So we have an incredible opportunity to utilize this program. And the way that, it works in social and in Sacramento, it's different every city right now. It's one of the things that I'm also trying to work on is, some type of standardization.
And consistency.
Yes,
Yes.
and that's something that everyone wants, and everyone is starting to come together as well to do that. But for Sacramento,
well, let me ask you this.
Mhm.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but just really quickly, is there an area, because there's only 7 or 9 jurisdictions in California, if I'm not mistaken, that have the equity program? Is that correct?
Yes. So there's technically 10 right now, and really there's a lot more that are revamping up as well. There's people that are reaching out to try to see how this thing's done. Some aren't, and so where places aren't, I'm kind of just going over there and say, hey, but yeah. So
Yeah.
there's
Are there any that are more successful than others that everybody's trying to build that standardization and that consistency off of?
Yeah.
You hear a lot about the Oakland and things like that.
I haven't seen it working yet.
Okay.
I read a lot of social equity language. Illinois, I'm really trying to see on paper, they have a really robust type of program with a lot built in. And so I want to see, but on paper, how everything looks on paper. We have to see how it's implemented.
Yeah.
Once we see how that's implemented, once we see how Detroit gets implemented, I'm really excited to see how that happens. They have a lot of it's a lot that goes into those processes, and there's a lot that they're trying to give those equity members out there, and they're doing that based off information that they're getting from here, in Oakland, our failures.
Of course.
That's one of the things that we're learning from as well, and we're building upon those failures. It's not about the problem; it's about trying to find solutions. This is really, like I said, social equity is so new. We all have to work together as community, as regulators,
create it.
Create the most
to make it what we want.
Yeah, because the industry itself is still regulating, forming, standardizing, and then you're trying to, on top of that, or not on top, but just as another part of it, do the social equity. Include that.
And I love that there is the diversity. I know that I can say here in Sacramento, I know of a couple of your colleagues that you're working with, that you are doing advocacy with, and if the average person, somebody who has kind of preconceived notions about those that utilize and use cannabis, they would look at some of the individuals and just have the worst ideas about them, think that they've definitely been in jail or whatnot, or they're just people lower than them on the totem pole. But what's so funny is that each of these individuals are bosses, and they're actually making way, and they have a lot of important and prevalent things to say that can help the decision makers of our city, county, and state just have a good relationship with those within the cannabis community.
Right.
So I know, and I can say that that's one of the things about UCA that I really, really, really admire. I know that when you first started, implementing it, I was like, I want to be involved in whatever way possible. I know I'm not an equity, participant or in the traditional sense, but whatever way that I could be involved, because I see the importance of organization like yours. Detroit is definitely going to need an organization that, is championing for them, making the connections, building that collaboration. I'm excited about Detroit because we know how Detroit has been disenfranchised for years. They've had their entire well-being and livelihood snatched away from them.
They still don't have clean water. in
still
Flint,
don't have clean
Michigan,
water,
close by,
you know.
which isn't Detroit, but it's neighbor, and so it's just like
And how many
crazy.
arrests are based off of, off of cannabis. So I think that that's excellent, and that is important for Sacramento and for Oakland and for counties that have already had it, to get it right, to be that example, so that
Right.
this plant gets utilized the way that it's supposed to, for medical
Right.
purposes, to help, I think, alleviate the
Yes.
classes,
So we can
to
reach
provide
out too, so
wealth.
we can show the
Yeah,
world how to do it as we reach
yeah,
out. To these places like Detroit, and helping with disenfranchisement in general.
yeah,
Then
yeah.
just so, can I ask you both this question? And you don't have to name any names unless you want to. Is there anyone in the industry that both of you feel is really working overtime, stepping up as an industry leader to help that standardization and really give it good input? Any
Um,
particular?
and
I
like
know
local,
I know
or
I
yeah,
know
on like a broader scale, because
specifically, especially on like the social equity matters, because that's all I try to do is just build on those relationships. And so there's social equity, like it's halted right now, but that gives us the opportunity to build upon what's already there. And so working with night in, night out with those operators from Sacramento to Oakland to San Francisco to LA, joining calls and things like that. That's something that everyone's really, really putting in the time right now to work on. And even outside of social equity, the people that the folks over at California Cannabis Couriers Association,
yeah,
they really lobbied and helped to get cannabis to become essential. They lobby and call the governor's office all the time on behalf of everyone, including social equity. And so I'm making sure that we have a bit more represented in that, and working with them. People want to hear what we have to say. We just have to approach them and let them know this is how to say it. So
yeah.
it's just building that gas. But a lot of the cannabis professionals, I see everyone working hard, especially the advocators. The advocators
Yeah.
are putting in that work right now.
It's a lot of
Okay.
it's a lot of organizations. The Hood Incubator was the very first one that I came across that really really put just shone a bright light on the importance of advocacy and the importance of, yeah, it's legal now, but there's more work that needs to be done. Like there's still a whole lot of work to be able to make it a level playing field. And they were the first ones, and they're out of Oakland. Also, Wanda James, we've discussed her. Some business owners such as I think Gas House is their vendor. Burner, if we want to put it in another example, I mean, Burner was probably the first one that went ahead and said, I'm going to start like a collective of sort, a incubator kind of service that he did, and he's helping people to be able, like, if they're cultivators or growers. I know that he's somebody.
Real quick, just a special shout out to Mindy Galloway over at
I was
Camilla.
gonna say Mindy, and I was gonna say Mindy and Kimberly. Yeah, I was gonna say
Wonderful.
local.
She
Yeah.
got a full-time job. She's CEO over there. She a boss, and
Yes.
she does as
Yes.
much to help out social equity in the matters, and advocating for what we all need as well. She's been definitely a thought leader, and
And she's awesome. And you know what? And she'll say it. She's like, I was a hoodlum when I was younger. She grew up here. And I'm sure their teachers or probably somebody that will look at her now and be like, holy shit, she made it work. And it's based around cannabis, but she has such a holistic and honest and organic spirit about her that you know that she's going to be somebody that is a decision maker and somebody that people are going to talk about in Sacramento as part of helping to build the cannabis community here for many years, just like kind of Kimberly is now. So I was definitely getting to Kimberly and Mindy.
Yeah.
And these are ladies that I met that actually helped to bring me into the industry. Mindy actually was the very first woman who reached out to me because of my social media presence and invited me to be a part of bringing the Women of Weed movie here and being part of Eden's Gathering. And so I tell her all the time, like when I had her as a guest, we had her guest on the show, like, I don't know how much she realizes she has a hand in who the MariJayne Maven is and what it is that I do now.
I want to downplay how important she is to the community, but I try to I let her know all the time. Like,
oh
you
yeah, she's
know.
an artist. I mean, she's just yes.
Yeah.
If you
No,
guys don't
like
know about
she's like
Mia,
humble as heck, but
yeah,
she's
Super.
definitely an industry leader. I definitely think that when it comes to, you know, the industry having standardization and including equity as a part of that standardization, that she is one of the step up people. You know, I definitely think she's a power forward.
Yes.
So,
Really.
you know, she's gonna yeah, I
the,
think she's
the
gonna take
owner.
it.
I think also the owner. You know, any of our equity graduates that are doing great things right now, such as the owner of Crystal Nugs. You know,
Mm.
Maisha.
Shout out Aisha.
Yes. John, who owns the Sky Cloud Social on K
John
Street.
Long. Hey, shout out to you.
Yes. And to Doyle. That's another individual,
Yeah,
who
yeah.
we can go ahead and add him into people of color because that's how people want to treat him all the time. Let's be honest. Let's be real. Him and his beautiful wife, and they were trying to build a great meeting space in the community, and that got derailed by a hater. But we won't put their business
Well,
out
the
there like
thing
that. We'll
is
talk about
this,
it,
if
but
you have a
it's a
business
horrible
in
thing.
cannabis or you love cannabis, you have a responsibility to try to step up and be involved in the, regulatory aspects of it so that at the end game, it reflects what we as users, growers, lovers, supporters
Mm-hmm.
want,
Mm-hmm.
what we
Yeah,
want.
most definitely. Yeah, and keep it in a way that we can continue to be who we are and make the move forward, within the community. One last person that I would kind of give a shout out to is any of the dispensary owners, such as the owner of Eco Cannabis in Oakland. I do know that they are an employer that every single one of their employees, once again, is somebody that has had a charge, maybe serve time and in relations to cannabis. I believe they also help to, put them in an incubator of sorts. So if once again they want to get into being a chef, they kind of help them in that avenue, get their business plan and all that together. So that is, another shout out there, to those that are doing right and, that are trying to build the equity in whatever way they can, even if they're not somebody that would be a part of the equity program. Brandon, kind of talking about the equity program. So with UCA, are you working with the two organizations here that are responsible for the programs? Are you working with them to streamline it, to make the process easier, to have more classes, every 8 weeks or whatever it can be? Are you really working with them to completely maximize and optimize what the programs are, for, and the funds that are available to individuals as well?
Well, that's what they were supposed to do with those budgets that they got, those handsome, those fat, nice chunks of budgets.
Yes.
And
Yep.
so, more so around that, because they are working on that, more specifically like the Asian Chamber. I know they're working on some very, some unique curriculum that's going to be online workshops, looking at
nice.
things like that.
Okay.
I'm not entirely too sure as far as like Urban League's curriculum, because I know they're really more of a focus group, as they're tight knit 14 group cohort, and so I know that they're still on their path of 18-week curriculum, and so
18 weeks, okay.
but they are adapting. Everybody is starting to go ahead and move those online, but to really a way to kind of side pass that, and still ensure that social equity members get access to the legal cannabis industry is, we've got the technical training now. We have the 2 administering programs here, which, I am partnered to do outreach with both of them, but more on a, business standpoint. Now these social equity members, they have their certificates of completion, so they have to wait for, this revolving loan program, to come out, and they'll be able to go ahead and just access that through whoever the city decides that they want to.
So right now, any graduates, they're kind of like in a standstill. Like they can't, there's no process for them to.
Well, we could still take advantage of all of the benefits as far as like, having our fees waived, as far as that reimbursement program that's going on right now. That's shifting actually. And there's some other benefits in there as well that we can still take advantage of. But like I said, the main thing that a lot of us got into the social equity program for is, capital. We need access to capital to have access to opportunity. And so if that's not there, then the opportunity is really not there either. And so,
it doesn't mean anything.
yeah, exactly. And so with this loan program coming, essentially we're, hoping that we can start building our own businesses, because now we don't have to ask, someone for the money. We can say, hey, this is a invoice or a bill for this. I need this paid, and we can go ahead and do that.
Oh, great. That's awesome. Why don't you briefly talk about the one of the biggest successes that you have all been able to endure in your work, and that has to do with the number of storefronts and dispensaries and the licensing. So you want to talk a little bit about that, how the mayor and they were able to come back and say, okay, we are giving, I think it's 5 more licenses, or you want to expound on that a little bit?
Let them tell you. They still haven't officially voted on that, but yes, you're correct. It is going to be 5 licenses this year and 5 licenses next year.
Okay.
And so the original, they weren't really too sure what to do. They were originally saying, maybe 3 licenses every quarter and things like that. And so I'm happy that at least we got 10 right now. Of course, for it to be true equity, we need a 1-to-1 ratio, which if there is 30 general licenses, we need 30 equity licenses. And so, the fight is still on to get that, but we are going to have them push out these 10 so we can get, some of the individuals in those spots now to start building the wealth for, the community. So we need to, that really is the fight. We're happy with the 10. Like I said, I'm happy that the mayor said that, but it's still a long ways to go. We're still 20 storefronts away from true
equity.
True
Equity.
equity, right.
Yeah.
They're like, we'll take this, but that still ain't it.
Yeah. And so how many
more.
I know that your desire when you came out was to have a storefront. How many would you say, if you had to guess, how many graduates have that same goal, like that they want to actually have a storefront?
A good percentage would be about, they say I think right now there's about roughly 400 plus people in the core program. I would say about 70 to 80% of those would want, to go ahead and get a storefront license. I mean, if you had the opportunity to say, hey, do you want one? I mean, yeah. So I expect a lot of people to go ahead and say yes, that they want that. But there is going to be a process for that. What they're proposing is more so a qualified lottery. So that way, you do have to submit a business plan. You have to submit, some other information in there that shows that your experiences in the cannabis industry, your traumas, in the industry, just different things to make yourself unique and show your professionalism. And so the people who kind of score at the top end will get put into a blind lottery. And then whoever they draw, like I said, those 5 individuals for the first year will be the lucky winners, of those first storefront lotteries licenses. And then, they have 3 years to go ahead and start their business.
Okay, well, that's a good amount of time, because you're going to need that. If you happen to win this lottery, but maybe your capital isn't prepared yet, or your building isn't prepared yet. It's a start. I definitely felt some way about it when I first heard about it, but I didn't even know that it was going to be this year, next year. I think when I heard about it, it was going to be a couple of years apart or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. But you guys are making waves. You're making noise. I know that the mayor knows who you are. I think that we have a fantastic governor, and you guys are in the right position, especially with the governor that we have, to make things happen. And I know that once we get past this and we get back to regular life, I think that you would be able to approach, newbie, like I call him, and and maybe start getting some other support that way, because he's already done some great things that open up the opportunity for people to be business owners in neighborhoods that before potentially we're not going to be an option. So that's
I
great.
fully agree, because I just actually wrote a letter of support to him a couple days ago, because he just pushed out those state funds for, you know, like that's what that loan program is going, that's the funds for that, you know, and
Okay.
he understands that we're essential right now as equity members. We are missing out on opportunity where, you know, a lot of these delivery operators,
Yes.
distribution operators are seeing about 300% increase in, you know, just customers. And so we need access to that. We need that fund, you know, we need that money in these communities to help build these communities.
Yes.
And so he understands that. He pushed that money out. You know, he's working tirelessly on a lot of different initiatives, obviously with the COVID being the main thing. But, you
Yes.
know, that's one of the things I want to make sure that, you know, I do think, you know, the members of government for doing what we need. Like that's we need that money, and they say, here, you know, we're gonna work on doing that. And of course we want a lot more. And so, but they're having those conversations with us, you know, and it's all in due time, and but things are moving. So I just want to
Yes.
thank him.
And that's awesome. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I believe there's nothing that he's done that I think has been a mistake or that is detrimental to the well-being of California. Um, you know, but that because of my lifestyle, maybe everything that he's doing meets my lifestyle. You talk to somebody else and, you know, he's doing a horrible job. Um, Let me ask you this. What is your opinion on the unlicensed farmers markets and the availability of that opportunity or that platform to you know, cannabis patients and then just cannabis customers? What do you feel about that as somebody who wants to go and, you know, actually have a storefront, or, you know, wants to help people actually go maybe the legal route as far as it's legal right now? Do you see an opportunity for those events to also be a integral part of the community?
Oh, yes, I do. Those events are the community, if you, in my
Yeah,
opinion. So
yeah,
we need to figure out a way to make those events legal, and we need to
yes.
figure out a way to make them, you know, what the city really is afraid of that model is they feel like they can't have a safe environment for that. And the reason why they feel like that is because they've never really been able to witness something that, you know, they're, you know, that is safe. And there's a lot of those
Yes.
models that are around, you know, and unfortunately right now they are unlicensed, but you know that the operators just, you know, I mean the regulators just really need to understand that that's a model where we feel comfortable in our communities. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that's a model
Mm-hmm.
that is working, that's a model that
Yep.
is culture. And so
Yes.
they have to understand that, and in due time I do feel like that's something that is going to be adopted, you know, in, because it's just, you know, you can't, why fight something that we're always going to go to, you know?
Yes. And especially because the regulation market actually cut a lot of those vendors out from being able to do what they were doing before.
Yeah, those are
Um,
legacy operators. Those they're near and dear to my heart because they, you know, as you know, like social equity members, they had a lot of opportunities taken away, you know, with the
mhm,
overhaul
mhm.
and sudden shift with adult use market. So, you know, finding other pathways for them as well is something that needs to happen. You know, there's a lot of
Yeah.
opportunity in this cannabis market, so we need to make sure that everyone that has that owed right, you know, gets that justice, gets their due.
I I think a great platform for Sacramento would be there. You know, there's about three or four. You know, three or four central
Mm.
ones, and I think those three or four should be kind of grandfathered in. You know, maybe there should only be three or four. You know, events that receive licensing.
Yeah.
You know, you need to be able to work with your jurisdiction
So
and
from understanding government, this is the way that it potentially could go. And of course, you know, I'm not a professional, but in that matter, but talk to them enough to know it'll go like a RFQ process. So that's a request for qualifications, or like
mhm,
a request for proposal, RFP.
okay,
And
okay,
so they'll really go for who is the best, who's the best at doing this. You know,
yeah,
Right.
show me you're the best. Show me also not that you're just the best. Show me your impact in these communities. How are you
Right.
yeah,
going to impact these communities? One, how are you going to keep themselves safe? But then two, how are you going to provide equity for these members? And then those are going to be the best people that are chosen to go
okay,
ahead and be the ones to pilot, because that's going to really be a pilot
Right.
program,
yeah,
you know. And
Yeah.
well,
so it's going to
yeah.
the city's only going to trust the best actor.
Yeah,
Right.
And I say there's a couple that I can shout out. There's what time is it? 11:30. Sunday, I'll just throw that out there. Sack Super Session on Sundays. Some great vendors like Chapo that need this opportunity because they are providing a service, and they are helping many people get their either medication or just their
Recreation.
recreation. Yeah. So I really love that you have an opinion on that, and that there is a conversation about it happening, at least,
Yeah,
because
there's
I
gotta
am
be, because it's like we started this cannabis shit, and this the
right.
thanks I
Much I
get.
think
You
I
know,
get right. And y'all
right?
can see behind me right here, on our water tower. Welcome to Sacramento, America's farm to spark capital. Y'all see that, right?
Right.
Hashtag MariJayne Maven. So yes. So speaking of being able to, get your message out there, you guys definitely, if you feel like you have a voice, if you guys agreed with a lot of what I've talked about today, and you like, I want to, a soapbox too.
Right.
Keita, is that you, honey? Are
Oh,
you doing like
sorry,
while she
sorry,
gets your phone?
sorry.
Okay. All right. That's all right, boo. So yes. So if you are somebody that's like, I want a platform, I need to be able to get my message out there, the best way for you guys to start is by getting on and joining and creating an account with Anchor FM. Anchor is a great platform. It is a free podcast platform, and it helps you with a lot of the things that kind of keep people away from jumping into starting their own, their own podcast. Some of the things that they're unfamiliar with. So check this out. We're going to talk to you a little bit about, about Anchor and see what it can do for you. So you will definitely be able to get some information on that, at the end of the podcast or in the liner of the show. What I do want to, talk about before we kind of jet off here, we have a couple more things I kind of want to jump around here, but what I really wanted to talk about first and foremost, well, not first and foremost, but my music pick. My music pick, guys, you thought we weren't getting away from a music pick this episode. And then we're going to kind of give the floor back to Brandon and have him, tell you guys about UCA, how you can get involved in any advocacy on the community level, how you can get in contact with him. But before we do that, we have got to give all honor to the great Champagne Poppy, because he blessed us with a new album. We knew it was coming, with, he's putting out videos, just being flashy, showing you his house. He came out with, TikTok, Tootsie slide, and I knew it was coming, and he delivered. This album is different. It reminds me a lot of Take Care in a way. But it's dope. So far, so good. The only song that I'm not digging, and I may have been influenced a bit by this, but it's really probably the worst song on there, is the song with Playboi Carti. I don't get why he calls himself a rapper.
Yeah, I think
I
that's
don't
an
know. I'm kind of
experiment.
like,
That's an
okay.
experiment more so.
Yeah, right? Like, first of all,
Yeah.
what was he saying? Like, what was he saying? I didn't understand one thing that he said. But yeah, so have either one of you taken the time to listen to Drake's new album? Or
Of course, that I have. But what I want to know is who knew that Chris Brown had extended Indigo? So there's an Indigo extended version with 10, 11 new songs.
Are you serious?
Yes, girl. And they're working on a video
Brown,
project. And I love me some C Breezy. I love Drake,
My
Drizzy.
mom
I was okay with the Drake. I was okay with the Drake.
She gonna have some new music to play. Yeah, that's all she plays. She played the same ones too. So I'm glad he coming out with something new, because then at least I get to it.
Yeah,
but
it's already
they're so
out.
good.
It's just an extended version.
Yeah, it is.
Well, I mean, I love, Drake. I probably, I've said this before. I said it at the end of last year, beginning of this year. My favorite album by him is Take Care.
I did say that.
The dude just can't do any wrong to me. I just wish that Future would realize that he only does good music when he's with Drake. So that's what he should do.
I wholeheartedly agree with that assessment.
Future's music is garbage.
It's better. It's just better with Drake.
Drake. The only song that Future had there was two songs. Where Your Ass Is At, right? That one. And then the one with The Weeknd.
Right.
The one that still knocks to this day. What's it called?
Oh, I don't know.
You know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about. I just don't know the name.
Oh my God. Because I'm always rapping.
Yes, I do. But yeah, so I'm definitely feeling that new Drake. Definitely feeling that Drake.
Same.
Low Life.
Low
Low
life,
life.
yes.
Ugh. Oh my God, that's enough. Okay, so now I also wanted to kind of talk about the creator space. There has been some recent beef. I follow a
Oh,
couple of black vloggers on YouTube,
okay.
and
Okay.
the other day we stumbled into this whole like black vlogger like just
Black vlogger
whirlpool.
world. Okay.
Yes, and it's crazy how not even in the world of vlogging, when there's plenty of information that you can share, there's plenty of fans that you can have, there's still issues within the community and between black vloggers. And I would like to know why, guys. Like, why is there dishonesty going on? If you're going to be a vlogger, you might as well say you're a journalist. So you need to be honest. You need to make sure that you're doing your due diligence and getting the right information. And then why spread you know lies, and why try to slander somebody else's hard work and name? Nobody owns YouTube that is a content creator on there. So I don't understand why people act like that platform is theirs and theirs alone. um
What did you see happening? What was going on?
it's just a lot. I don't want to say names,
Okay.
because I don't want to participate in that, but I will just say it's a lot of drama that's going on, and it's all stems from one individual who has been caught several times. And I don't understand how she continues to grow, but she's been caught several times in lies and in making up stories, lying on individuals, saying very mean things. And it all just stems from this one individual. So my commentary on that is, and
Wow.
just, like I said, there's just enough out there, just like the same thing in the cannabis community. There's plenty of smokers, there's plenty of products, there's
Right.
plenty of this flower that will grow. There's enough for everybody to eat. Um, do you guys ever notice anything like that? Or do you guys follow anybody, any vloggers, or any motivational speakers, where you kind of still notice that pettiness and that unneeded competition? Um, do you guys notice that at all?
Oh, I just noticed that in the world in general. It's just
Yeah, I was gonna
become a
say, yeah.
part of the
Yeah,
culture, you know?
yeah,
And so it's almost like yelling that you've got haters, and no one's hating on you, but it's a popular thing to say because it makes you look like people actually care, right? And
well,
so the
there are some
beefing,
haters out
so be well, yeah, but you know what I mean. But
there.
beefing
Yes,
with
yes.
people is another part of that. Like, oh, I'm important enough to have beef.
Yeah,
Someone
yeah,
knows who I am enough to fight with me. It's an attention-seeking mechanism, so I'm over it.
It
yeah.
really, yeah,
It's
that's kind of lower vibration. So I just try to avoid
yes,
that type of content because it just distracts, and
yeah,
so
Right.
there's a lot more, pertinent things to really be worried about. So that's all
yeah. That's what I was
I'll
gonna
be
say.
on. As soon as they start beef, I'm like, oh, okay, let me just
Right. Bye.
exactly, just start scrolling. Like, see what y'all post tomorrow, y'all. Then
Right. Seriously.
So our wonderful host, MariJayne, had to step off real quick, um, but she wanted us to go ahead and just continue with the show. So she wanted to pass it on back to you, Brandon, so you could talk about how people would be able to become part of your what you're doing in Sacramento in terms of the cannabis industry.
Oh, definitely. Well, right now, we're still finding ways to adapt, and we're doing remote meetings. We're actually holding a Zoom call this Thursday to discuss, different policy changes that we'd like to see. And so, if you want access to that, go ahead and go to united-core.org. Go ahead and sign up, and I'll get you some information as well. I'm really good at responding on there. So go ahead and just, go to, like I said, united-core.org. And we'll get you set up and, figure out how, what your path is, figure out if you are eligible for the social equity program, and try to facilitate you to the right resources.
Okay, you said that was a Zoom call this Thursday?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, and if you send us that information, we can go ahead and post that for you as well.
For sure.
Yeah, that's great. Awesome. What let me ask you a question. Is there anything particular, Brandon, that you know about for the industry in regards to COVID-19 in the industry? implemented change? Is there anything you can think of?
Oh yeah, no, definitely. Now that we're essential businesses, that means that we're always gonna make money, even in a recession. That's what that means. But it's really now it's formulating and it's building upon the narrative that we really need to get these incarcerated individuals out of prison, and out of the jail system for crimes that people are getting money for right now. And so it's really refocusing on that, as much as we want to get money out too, we really need to get them out, because we wouldn't have this program without the people that, the traumas that it came from. So, that's one of the things that I'm seeing a lot of politicians kind of refocus. A lot of art groups are refocusing on that. So that's been one of a large mission too. And it's a large mission in itself too, because there's so much that's involved with that. In itself, as far as expungements, getting the trust of individuals to go ahead and get expungements, finding the funding to go ahead and cover those, so it's a journey. There's a lot to be fixed in the social equity market. There's a lot more to be fixed in the cannabis market.
But it seems like it's so rewarding for you to be a part of it. And I'm so proud. I'm happy and I'm so proud of you. Because I think we have the right young man who will be able to, to make those changes, and, kind of going back to kind of the decision makers, or those people that we think are, good influencers, or really helping the community. I did want to give a shout out to Malachi. Malachi, yes. Yes, so we cannot forget him, because we wouldn't even have
right here. That is the
the
leader.
program. Yes,
Mhm.
so wanted to give a shout out to him. Now I, really want to thank you for, coming back on, and I message him every now and again and tease him and stuff, and I'm like, now you too big for me now. I haven't seen you in forever. Like, what's up? So we've scheduled so many breakfasts and coffee dates and things together, but time just hasn't permitted. So I'm happy that you were able to take some time out of your busy schedule during this coronation, and filling us in on what's going on and what you're doing. And of course, you do not be a stranger. I can of course get on and talk you up every week, because I do follow you and see what's going on. But it's better to come from the man himself. So I really appreciate you coming in and sharing.
Right. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so
Yes.
much. Both of you.
Yes.
Thank you, Vita, for the wonderful questions. Like it's always wonderful to be here. Like, this is really how things get changed. Like, we have to talk about these hard topics. We have to educate the community. We have to educate ourselves in the process. It's all about education and forming community around that and cannabis. So thank you all for just hosting this.
Yes, thank you, Jay.
I do want you to, I know that, I have to step away to the restroom really quickly, been drinking lots of this CBD water. So I know that you mentioned having a call coming up. Is there any way that if anybody's sitting out there right now and they're like, I want to be a part, I want to, to be an advocate, I want to help in any way possible. How can they get in contact with you? Or is there anything that the normal everyday person out there can do with your organization, with UCA?
Oh yeah, so we're definitely building out a lot more business channels and services around that. And right now we are focusing on providing resources, whatever that looks like, or really more so facilitating individuals to the proper resourcing channels, whether that is getting at, eligible for the core program, or whether that's understanding the policies and understanding more so individual business models within themselves, and how, how to build a business plan, how to do, A through Z. And so we really just address and see what what their goals and aspirations are. And we just say, let's work on this together. So the way that they can go ahead and, start that process is go to united-core.org and go ahead and sign up there. And like I said, we'll go ahead and start that process. Really, best case scenario is, they go through our website and we facilitate them over to like Sacramento Grow Green or Sac Green Equity with Malachi and Frank and Brandon over there. And they get them eligible, go through their curriculum. And then they also have access to the revolving loan program.
Okay, nice. And I mean, that is so fantastic. I knew that there were funds, but I didn't know to what extent. So that is awesome. So if you guys weren't able to get the information, if you haven't been paying attention to the banner that's been running across the screen this whole time, or maybe you're listening and you guys want to get in contact with the United Core Alliance, or if you want to get in contact with Brandon, you can hit me up and I'll make sure to make that connection for you. When we are able to get back to normal, I'm sure there'll be some events, that I'll be able to, share with you guys that they're having. I think it'd be awesome for you guys to actually kind of make an appearance or, an introduction to the community. So, me and you'll be talking about that, let your girl get that together.
You're gonna be hosting that inaugural events. We're gonna have a lot
see it already.
We're gonna have all our pictures. It's gonna look good.
Yes, awesome. Awesome. Well, guys, with the some of the rules being relaxed, there are some other businesses that are they're going to be opening with some of their services.
Oh yeah,
and
I heard.
One of them is I know that Classy Hippie Tea, they are going to be hosting a event for the Reefer Rangers. If you're not familiar, they Reefer Rangers, you can look them up on Instagram, but it's going to be a dual birthday party for two of the members per se of that organization. And like I said, definitely look them up. So that is on May the 12th and it starts at 4:20 and it's going to be at Classy Hippie Tea. Also the Create and Elevate, myself and Bree from Monthly, we have our events. We are going to be doing an event, actually 2 events. We're going to be doing one that's going to be focusing on music. We want to be able to say thank you to those creators and those musicians in the area that maybe had, because of the coronacation, they lost shows, they lost money, they lost deposits. They don't have a platform like the rest of us do. You can kind of go on Instagram Live and things, but it's a little harder when you're a performer, and you still want to be able to get out there and get your message out there. So we want to kind of do a little highlight of them, as well as the MariJayne Maven. We're going to be doing a couple of episodes where we're going to be speaking to musicians that are also cannabis lovers, and kind of talk about the joint between those two. But jumping back over to Create and Elevate, we're going to be kind of doing like bringing you a concert. So we're going to be looking for some performers for that. That's going to be coming up. And then next month, we're going to be having a high tea event where we're going to teach everybody how to make their own teas. And we're going to be having some food provided, brought to you as well. In the case that we are still under the stay-at-home order. We do have a couple of guests coming up. One that I do want to shout out, you guys know our kind of guest co-host here, Chaz, on Beat Treats. He is joining up with a new kitchen, and they're providing. Yes, isn't awesome. They're providing deliver to your home meals, and they actually are going to be on tomorrow. So you guys are going to be blessed with 2 episodes coming up, and they'll be on to share tomorrow. But they, go to a new kitchen, their Instagram, and you'll be able to see the menus that he has every week, and reserve your spot to get those delivered. But like I said, you guys will be able to find out more about that. Let's see, any other information? Oh, definitely, you guys check out the merch. I've been sharing the Menage with the MariJayne Maven merch. It's on my Instagram. Go ahead. I would love to see somebody from afar when I'm out somewhere sporting a little gear. And we will have next week. Our guest next week is going to be Zay the Prophet. Zay Almighty. My bad, Zay. I'm sorry. Zay Almighty. He is somebody that I've known since he was like a little kid, and now he is doing big things in rap. Okay. He is a very, very popular and widely known barber who has his own. He created his own program, kind of like an online kind of school kind of thing, a program where you can learn how to cut hair. Let me tell you, this dude, I know from a fact, and I feel okay with saying this, he gets about average $100 per haircut. Dudes do like raw. Ridiculous. So he's going to be our guest coming on next week. And that episode is, you listen to Jimmy, but you can't hear Jimmy. I'll give somebody a t-shirt if they know what movie that's from, and you hit me up on Instagram. DM me if you know what movie that's from. So as always, yes, I'm getting the hubby is looking at me and giving me emotions. Please, guys, subscribe to us on YouTube. Please follow us on all streaming platforms. platforms. You want to follow us, follow me on IG if you're not, at Menage with the MariJayne Maven and at the MariJayne Maven. YouTube, of course, is Menage with the MariJayne Maven podcast. Twitter that Menage with MJ Maven, MAVN, MariJayne Maven, and the hubby, the producer. Yes. Oh, yes. And if anybody has a product or anything that they would like to present, to be on the show, definitely get in contact with the producer. That's TheProdewcer. You guys, that Patreon's coming soon. You're gonna want to have a membership because we have a very special After Dark podcast as well, and it definitely has to go on Patreon. Definitely. So yes, once again, thank you, Brandon, for coming on. It has been so good to catch up with you. Please tell your beautiful sister hello, and she needs to come on as well. We can talk about literature or whatever it may be.
Talk about. So yeah, trust me, y'all that'll be a good one.
Yes.
Thank you so much for your time.
No problem. Anytime you want to come on. And Vita, girl, I know you've been having a relaxing time as well. And she's no longer with us. So if she's watching, deuces. Thank you for joining. But yeah, everybody, thank you so much for joining us this evening. We're going to have another episode coming. You guys have a great night. Stay safe. Stay your asses at home. All right.